Sarah, are you ready?
I'm a lady.
And welcome to Idol Days, the show about idol anime. I'm Star.
And I'm Sarah.
And hey, Sarah, bit of a tangent. You know how about a week ago you got me to play Final Fantasy XIV?
Yep, I do know.
I was expecting you to go into the spiel.
The critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy
There it is.
XIV with
Yeah.
the free trial up to level 60, including critically acclaimed award-winning Heavensward.
Yeah, that one.
Incredible. Yes, I
Well,
do know.
Yeah, so you got me to play that recently, and I'll be honest, while I was playing Final Fantasy XIV, critically acclaimed RPG Final Fantasy XIV, all I could think about was the fact that I had just recently watched a thing that reminded me of MMOs.
Whoa, tell me
And it
more.
is the topic of our episode today, so I will tell you more.
And also, speaking of critically acclaimed MMORPG Final
Oh, Jesus
Fantasy
Christ.
XIV, you play a cat girl, and I have a cat in my lap, so if you hear noises, it's my cat.
Yeah, it's Sarah has a kitten in her lap, and I'm a little jealous.
Baby.
But whatever. we can't tear the cats away from the podcast. That would be very rude.
If you hear purrs, it's a baby.
All right. So, in case you hadn't read the title, today we are discussing a new anime movie.
Ooh.
In the English title is Belle. The Japanese title is a lot more convoluted.
Oh.
It is the Japanese title translates to The Dragon and the Freckled Princess, which is an accurate depiction of the thing. So a little bit of backstory with what this movie is. So I first started I keep hearing kitten purrs. It's so cute.
He's purring so loud.
He's adorable, Lancelot.
Baby.
Sarah has two cats and they're very precious.
They're my knights.
Anyway, so I first heard about this movie through TikTok, I think, because I am too online, and I spend a lot of time just like looking at TikTok, and the music for this movie is what attracted me in the first instance. I first started hearing it I want to say like a couple months ago. They were like putting out marketing for it and they were really kind of like pushing it on TikTok and stuff. And the first thing that attracted to me, well, two things actually. The first was the music. The music in this movie is the best part of this movie.
Oh, interesting.
I sent you a couple of clips of like the first two songs in the
Yes,
film.
I watched them.
Yes. So the music fucking slaps.
It's very good.
It's very, very good. I have been listening to the soundtrack quite a bit over the last few weeks. But also something that I found was interesting was this movie is actually by a director that I like.
Yeah. So that's my only knowledge of this movie is I saw the ad and I'm like, oh, he's just making Summer Wars again. So I don't know much else.
Okay, yeah, so I was going to bring this up. I personally have never seen Summer Wars.
Oh, really?
I haven't, but I know I have a general gist of what it's about. And I would say that what you are assuming is probably close enough. Yeah.
And you also worked on the Digimon movie, which also had a similar plot too.
Yeah, so I think this guy is he just has a fascination with the internet, which like fair.
That's true. Me too. Final Fantasy XIV's on there.
Yeah. I only like the internet for one thing, and it's Final Fantasy XIV, critically acclaimed RPG.
And also watching anime of idols.
Idol anime and our podcast you can also find on the internet.
That's true.
Well, conveniently, yeah, so this movie is basically about an internet idol. And so I feel it's one of those things where the word idol is never explicitly said. She's a fucking idol. Like, she is in everything but name. She is Idaru. So it counts for the If we watched Given for the podcast, this definitely qualifies way more than Given.
High School Musical.
What are you talking about, Sarah? No, we didn't.
It's true.
It's
true.
That was a completely different thing. But yeah, so yeah, this movie was directed by Mamoru Hosoda, who I actually know for Wolf Children, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. I know he's done other stuff. I remember you and I watched The Girl Who Leapt Through Time in college, and I don't remember much about it except that I got frustrated at the end because they didn't kiss.
Oh, Star is a shipper.
It's just so mad. I remember we were watching it with a friend, and when he went in for the hug instead of the kiss, I'm like, you motherfucker, you missed! That's all I remember from that movie. But yeah, so then Summer Wars also. He did The Boy and the Beast, which I haven't seen. He did Mirai, which I only watched part of. That was a little hard to get through. Wasn't my thing. Didn't finish watching it. But so when I saw that he was doing this one, I'm like, okay, interesting. I will watch this film. I have some thoughts.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts. I have not seen it. All I know is it's about internet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So the basic summation of this movie is girl loves to sing, but has a lot of trauma associated with singing, is able to kind of find her voice by becoming this alternate persona, Belle, which is where the title of the movie comes from, who is like her online avatar. And so she is able to find her voice through that. But then there's a lot of other stuff. There is a Beauty and the Beasts plot, which takes up it's kind of most of the movie, but it's also kind of only for like 15 minutes.
Okay, do explain.
And then there's a weird love square. And then there's a thing about child abuse. So my biggest complaint with this movie, and from what I could glean from reading the reviews, is this is kind of everyone's biggest complaint of the movie. The visuals are incredible. The music fucking slaps. The music is great. The plot had way too much going on.
Yeah.
So I went into this movie with very high hopes because I enjoy this director, and I was just kind of disappointed by it. I remember my first time watching it, I left the theater thinking that was a weird film, and that I didn't really have much other thoughts about it. And then TikTok gaslit me into thinking that I was actually good and I was wrong.
That's what happens when you hang out with those teens on the internet.
With the fucking teens, yeah. But yeah, like I kept seeing, like I think it's still trending on TikTok, kind of like the transition using like the first song from this movie. I think it's an audio bit from the trailer. And like you look through the comments and everyone's talking about it. It's like, oh, this is a beautiful movie. It's an amazing movie. It's the best movie I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, it's not a bad movie, but I think it needed a little bit more time in the writer's room is my main thing about it. So what it feels like is it feels like the writers had an idea for a movie, or they had an idea for a painting. And they were like, okay, what color do we want to mix into our painting? Okay, well, let's start with red, because red is a very bright color. It's very enthusiastic. Let's start with red. And then, so they had this red paint on their palette, and then they were like, ooh, well, what if we also mix in some blue? Because blue is like a very inspiring and like mellow and like kind of beautiful color.
But
so then they mixed in some blue.
If they do that, they'll get reddish blue.
Yeah, it's called purple. And so, like, if you just have red and blue, you still have purple. But then at some point, they were like,
this
okay,
is an
well, what if we also
for
mix
everyone
in...
else? In art school, Star was in the middle of a project, and it was like, wow, I wish there was a color that was like a reddish
don't tell
blue.
This story, you motherfucker!
And we're like, you mean purple?
Shut the fuck
So
up.
That's a Star secret.
You think about colors too hard and they stop existing. That's all I'm going to say about that.
The author of the Cast-Off comic, where most of the PR has a lot of reddish blue in it.
Shut. I will drive to Atlanta just to kick your ass.
Right, let's go back to
Get
the metaphor.
Get in my car right now. Anyway, so the metaphor I was making is like if they had just stuck to like one plot and maybe one subplot, it would have been fine. So they had their red and they had their blue. But then they decided, oh, well, we should also mix in some yellow, blue, teal, and orange into this movie all at the same time. And I don't know if you guys know anything about color theory, but if you mix too many colors, you just kind of get brown. And once you've mixed the brown together, you're pretty much stuck with brown. And that's what happened with the plot of this movie. It's like they had a good thing going with the like girl finding her voice through this alternate persona. That's like the red. That's like the base. It's good. But then they mixed in this other kind of like Beauty and the Beast thing, and that was cool. And I'm like, okay, if it was just these two things, that would be fine. But then they mix in the love square, and then they mix in the child abuse, and then they mix in the internet commentary. And I'm like, there is too much, and this movie is 2 hours long, and it still feels cramped.
Oh.
Because there was too much going on. Yeah. There's just a lot of weird plot contrivances with the way the internet world works. And I feel like so I will issue a disclaimer. I did enjoy this movie more the second time around because the first time around, the first time I watched it, I was extremely distracted by yelling, "That is not how the internet works."
But now that you've played Final Fantasy 14, you know the possibilities.
Well, no, I think I'm just too online. And so I was just like, okay, well, that's illegal. Where are the mods? Why is this guy a mod? Etc., etc. I'm like, just use Google. That's doxing a child. That's illegal. There's a lot going on in this film. But yeah, so this just, I guess to sum up, this movie kind of reminded me of my situation with Love Live, where I went in wanting to like it and was kind of disappointed, but it might not be for me. It might, I still think it's an enjoyable film if you just kind of turn your brain off for a little bit and just look at the pretty colors and enjoy the pretty music. That's kind of how you have to watch this movie.
So, Star, explain to me the movie. How does it go? How do we get to this point?
Yes. So I'll say this up front. There are not a lot of characters in this movie, and half of the named cast is just not really that important. The main character you have to worry about is Suzu. Okay. Is the name of our main character. And then her alternate online persona her name is Belle. So Suzu and Belle are the same person, and it's easy to remember because Suzu in Japanese means Belle.
Convenient.
Belle in the movie is spelled like Belle, like the French word, but it's brought up in the movie that it's a pun, so you get it. Anyway, so on to the film. So the movie opens. This is actually one of the scenes that I sent you.
Yes.
The movie opens on an introduction to you.
Me?
Just capital U.
You love life.
No. So you is Second Life. It is Final Fantasy 14. It is
internet.
It is the internet, just all of it. So you is a virtual world that supposedly has 5 billion users and counting. Visually, it's pretty cool looking. It kind of looks like this weird city with just people kind of just floating around.
It was very similar to the internet depiction in Summer Wars from the trailer I saw.
Okay, I will take your word for that because, again, I have not seen that film. But yeah, so visually it's very beautiful, but not the most original thing, but it also doesn't need to be. The one thing I would say is more original about this is each person you see has their own little avatar.
Yes.
And what you find out later, kind of now and also kind of later, is you has this quote unquote body sharing technology, which basically means that when you log in for the first time, it scans your biometric data and then gives you an avatar.
Ooh.
So, which is weird because you look at the users in you. Users. I never thought about that. That's very good. So you look at the people in this game in you, and they're half of them are people humanoid, but a lot of them are just weird creature designs. And so my brain immediately jumped to Sarah.
Yes.
You know how when a new mobile game comes out,
Yes.
And you look on their social media and they'll be like, wow, we've already reached 1 million accounts.
Yep. It's
but
all
then
rerolls.
It's all rerolls.
I can't believe all these people re-rolled to get a good-looking avatar.
No, Sarah, I have to, because they say it's like, you is a virtual reality with 5 billion users and counting. And I'm like, all right, how many of those accounts were people re-rolling trying to get a better looking avatar because they hated the first one? How many of those accounts are actually active and being used?
Oh, and then wait till the bots come.
Yeah, and then there's the bots and like the people who are trying to sell their avatars on eBay. For those who are maybe not familiar with how mobile games work, is usually when you start a new account on a mobile game, they'll give you some freebies right away. And a lot of times people will like delete their account, recreate their account over and over and over again until they get the exact like freebie that they want. Either it's like a JPEG of a Love Live character, or an SSR of an Idolmaster that they really want.
For me, I re-rolled on Genshin Impact for like 3 days, and I didn't get any good characters, so I never played the game at the end.
Oh, fucking rip. Is that why you haven't played Genshin?
Yeah, because I was tired of re-rolling. I was re-rolling for so long, I'm like, nah.
You fucking rip. I got Venti on like my first roll in Genshin.
Hey.
And then I have not been lucky since.
Womp.
But anyway, so yeah, like, that's the joke, is that like these people are creating accounts, but then they don't like their randomly assigned avatar, so they make it, I don't know. There's like, they kind of explain this away in the world building, but my mind would not leave that image.
Yes.
It's like, how many of those accounts are actually being used?
This is just a very far segue. Have you ever seen Gun Gale Online, the Sword Art Online spin-off star?
I feel like I've seen marketing for it, but I don't think I watched far enough in Sword Art to see that.
It's a complete spin-off, but the main idea of the reason why this character is in this gun game is she got like the way that the Sword Art universe works is for all the games you get randomly assigned an avatar, right? And every time she's like in real life this like tall lady, and she's like, I just want to be a cute small little girl. So she kept doing different games until she became a cute small little girl, but ended up in this violent gun game. And like, it reminds me of that.
Rip.
Complete segue. This is just for you, Star. It doesn't have to be for the podcast.
Okay. I'm probably going to keep it in because people need to know that you've watched Sword Art Online.
Yeah, well, this is Sword Art's spin-off. This is deeper in, Star. This is deep. This is like seasonal Sword Art.
Oh, shit. Well, anyway. So, yeah. So it's just weird that, like, your avatar is, like, it's based on your biometric scans that it does, but then you have people who are just literally fish. Like, their avatars are fish. And it's like, this game is weird.
There's fish on it. That's how they got so many users.
There's fish in it. Since when are fish allowed to play VR? They don't even have ears to plug in the little ear pods to.
Good point.
Anyway, so yeah, like you open up on this scene. It's basically like it's far away, and you like zoom in, and you just like gradually see more and more of the world. And we're introduced to our main character, Belle, the internet persona of our main character. And so she's like, she, again, is an idol in everything except name. She's got like this long, like pink hair. She's got kind of like white face, like kind of patterns on her face, like little triangles on her cheeks. And then like a string of red freckles that kind of go across her nose. So the first song that we hear is the song called You. And it's the best song in the It's so fucking good. My toxic trait is thinking that I can sing this song and it would sound good.
I like how she wrote a song just for you, Love Live.
The Love Live fans are going to come at you, Sarah, for pronouncing Yo's name wrong.
They're going to come at you.
No.
What? But yes, it's Yo, Love Live.
But yeah, so I want to talk about the singer for real quick, because I believe the clip I sent you was the English dub, just because that was the first one that popped up. So I haven't had a chance to watch the dub yet, but I have been listening to the English soundtrack because I'm an English speaker, and so it's easier for me to remember the lyrics and then jam in my car when I'm driving back and forth and moving, that I've been doing for the last week and a half. But the coolest shit. the singer, the voice actress that they got for the main character, her singing voice is so similar to the original Japanese singer. It is uncanny.
When our heartbeats collide, I'm mind in a place we've never been before. I'm reaching out for the moon and stars beyond it.
Yeah, I noticed because the second clip you sent me, Star, was in Japanese, and I'm like, is this
Yes.
just like a bilingual voice actor? But they're two separate ones?
That's what I thought too. No, completely different people.
Wow, that's impressive.
No, it's very impressive. Her voice is incredible. I'll have to slip in a snippet of the English dub in here so people can kind of compare. All the songs are on Spotify or YouTube or whatever, so you can go listen to them because, like,
They're on the internet.
they're on the internet. Yes.
What a suspicious conspiracy.
But no, yeah, like, I had the exact same thought, too. Like, is this just a bilingual voice actress? Is she just, like, really good at singing in English? No. They are completely separate people, and apparently, Kylie McNeil, the English voice, she's only, like, 19.
Whoa, good job.
And I'm like,
good job.
no words, just claps. My one little nitpick with the English songs is, like, the lyrics are a little awkward in places, but, like, having to match a translation of the lyrics to the lip flaps in the movie is probably very difficult, so
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not going to
fair.
be too harsh on them for rhyming words with the same word in a couple of instances.
Fair enough.
It's fine. And if you've got to stick up your butt about that, you try writing better lyrics. So as this scene ends, I'll describe what the scene looks like. She gets to ride Belle. She's wearing this really cool red dress that is, like, super cool. It's got, like, flowers everywhere. And also she's riding a whale.
An internet whale. That internet person rolled so many gotchas, and that's why they're a whale.
It's like, I want to be an internet whale with speakers on my back like weird barnacles. The creature designs in this movie are a little eccentric, but they are very, very cool.
It was very cool looking.
I like the internet whale. I like the internet whale. Internet whale best character.
Hey.
But yeah, so as this song kind of abruptly ends, we are snapped back into reality and we meet Suzu, the person behind Belle's persona.
Yes.
So Suzu, she is a high school student in rural Japan. She's, like, short. She has her hair is short. It's kind of, like, fluffy, kind of, like, darkish brown. She's got, like, freckles, and she's kind of got, like, bags under her eyes a little bit. If I could describe her in one word, it would probably be she's kind of mousy.
Okay.
A little bit. So the next few scenes, we get a little bit of exposition just on her school life and her situation. So I'm going to tell you about some of the other characters. The only one that you really need to remember is Hiro.
Okay.
And Sarah, is the one with glasses. She has, like, kind of black shoulder-length hair with glasses. She's Suzu's, like, best friend character.
Okay.
And she's kind of more, like, she's very analytical, but she's, like, she's not a Kyoya or on High School Host Club. She's not, like, the cool personality. She's like, I can manipulate you into being an influencer on the internet.
Oh.
Let's look at stats. So she's me.
Gotcha.
basically.
Understood.
She's me, but, like, cranked way up.
Oh.
So that's Hiro. She's, like, the best friend. There's like three other characters. I would argue that probably the next most important is Shinobu. And that is the guy. He's got, like, short black hair. He's got, like, a little bit of a helmet just kind of around his head of hair. He's kind of the stoic, silent type. I think you could fit all of his dialogue in the movie on less than one page.
Oh.
He's kind of Suzu's, like, childhood friend.
Okay.
And their situation is weird. Basically, she has a crush on him, and she doesn't know how he thinks about her, and this is the love square that I was talking about. It's dumb. I'm not going to go into it too much.
Okay.
It adds nothing to the film.
Gotcha.
And then there's two other characters who are just kind of like side characters. There's Luca. She's the one with kind of like longer, kind of like black little wavy hair. She is like the most popular girl at school, but she's not like a bitch about it. She's real friendly. She's real sweet. She's honestly probably my favorite character.
Does she play
in
the
this movie.
saxophone? There's a saxophone.
She plays the saxophone in the school band. She's
exciting.
very cute. I like her. And then there is Kanishin, who is the guy with like kind of lighter reddish brown hair. He's like the goofy, sporty guy. He's like the only member of the canoe club at their school.
Ooh.
So you see him canoeing a few times.
By himself, I assume.
Yeah, so the rest of those characters, they're really only important for the love square and like one scene at the very end, which I'll get to. And so we're introduced to like the school and her life, and then we get some flashbacks with like no narration. It's very good show don't tell, where we get some of Suzu's backstory. So when she was really little, she was really close with her mother, and she became fascinated with music at a very young age. She learned how to play piano from a smartphone app. Her mom was always really supportive. She was writing songs, and they would always play together. It was really sweet. But her mother was killed in an accident when Suzu, I think, was like 6 years old.
The iDOL experience.
The iDOL experience, yeah. Her plot is so similar to Chihiya's, but with the internet. So her mother was basically like, she swam out into a river to save a little girl from drowning. The little girl survived, but the mom is killed. And Suzu was basically traumatized as a result. She never could come to terms with how her mother chose to give up her life to save some random little girl and leave Suzu, her own child, just in the lurch with no mother. She's just gone. And so because of that, Suzu just she lost her inspiration. She lost her ability to sing. She tries to sing like once in the movie, but it traumatizes her so badly that like when she tries, she literally just throws up.
But,
and I'm like,
was she
oof.
little when this happened in the movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
so she was 6 when this happened in the movie, and she is like, I think 16 now, so it's been like 10 years, and she's still like, girl needs therapy real bad, because she's obviously not getting the support that she needs.
Oh, no.
And like, she still has her dad around, but the dad tries, but she is obviously like, she's kind of pushing her dad away, like they never really talk. And I don't want to say that she's being neglected, but I don't think the dad is trying very hard.
Gotcha.
Or at least he could be trying a little harder. Maybe he could have taken his daughter to therapy. I know that like the stigma's different in Japan, but it's like, your child needs help.
Yeah.
Do something. But yeah, so after she has like this moment where she's trying to sing and she can't, you see her phone, and Hiro, the Glass's best friend, sends her an invite to you.
Oh.
And so Suzu goes home, I think that night. She registers, and she chooses the screen name Belle because Suzu is Belle in Suzu is Belle in Japanese.
Good thing it was available, so she didn't have to be like Belle XXOXXO.
Right? Capital X, lowercase x underscore Belle underscore lowercase x capital X.
But the E on Belle is a 3. Yep.
No, it's B3113.
Yeah, exactly.
Surrounded by underscores, capital X, lowercase x. Anyway, so she logs in and she gets her little character assigned to her, and she's like, no, this character's way too pretty. That's not me. But then she notices that like the character has freckles just like her, and she's like, oh, I guess this is me.
Good thing I'm not a fish man.
Good thing I'm not a fish person. This movie would have been very different otherwise. But yeah, so she connects to the virtual world, and it's in this moment, there's a lot of things I could compare it to, but my closest frame of reference is unfortunately Sword Art Online.
If you die in the game, do you die in real life?
Yeah, it's like connecting to the metaverse or whatever.
Oh no, that's even more cursed than Sword Art could be. I like Sword Art except for the parts I don't.
Yeah. Like,
think
the first season was okay. Asuna's best girl. Season 2, the fairy arc, just we do not see
that's
it.
season 1, part 2. But season 2, part 1 with Sinon is my favorite part. I love her.
I didn't watch that far.
She's good.
I just remember that the fairy arc is cursed, but Asuna's outfit is kind of cute.
Yes.
I have an Asuna figure that I won at a crane game for like 100. Like first try.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was so proud that day. And it's a very cool little figure. Anyway,
Sword art opinions.
Sword art opinions.
We've talked about Sword Art Online twice now.
Tag that up on your bingo sheet twice, everybody. But yeah, so it's like connecting your biometrics to you, and like you'll be able to feel and see, connecting your senses and like all this nonsense.
Does it have smell-o-vision?
Probably.
Cool.
You can sniff in VR. The new VR headset for 2025 includes a little like snorkel mask that you pull over your nose and you can smell VR. They're gonna do it. You know that they will. Mm-hmm. And I will not purchase it because I barely have a sense of smell as it is, so it would be a waste of money. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so she connects into the virtual world. Oh. And, like, the first thing she does is she tries to sing. And this is that second clip that I sent you.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was that early in the movie.
No, yeah, it's pretty early on. That's, like, the first time she's, like, in the... I keep wanting to call it the metaverse.
The Facebook metaverse.
The face powered by
the first
Facebook.
time she logs into Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. It's like Final Fantasy 14, yes. So she connects and she's finally able to sing again. And so we get another song. This is called Gales of Song. And it is also a bop, but it's like more of a... and she's just like so taken aback by the fact that she can actually sing now. She just fucking busts into song in like the middle of a lobby, basically. And there's like people like kind of around her just going like, stop singing, you're posting cringe. But she just doesn't pay any attention to them. She's too caught up in her own stuff. The lyrics are very much about her feelings for her mother, being like, how could you leave me? Now I'm all alone. Everybody else has life figured out, but I still have to because I don't know how the world works. And she's like upset that she can't live the life she wanted with her mother by her side and all that jazz.
I'm impressed at her for being able to sing well after not singing for 10 years and also through puberty.
Yeah, we'll get to that, Sarah.
Okay.
At the very, very end of this episode, we will circle back to that.
Okay.
Because I have a thought, but it requires knowledge of the rest of the film.
Okay.
And so as the song ends, this little, like literally little avatar comes over to her. It's kind of like a little ghost bat with like a little crown. It's very cute. I think his username is like Angel or something, but I'm going to call him Little Bat Ghost Friend because that's what he looks like.
Okay.
And he's like, wow, you're so beautiful. Your voice is amazing. And she's like, aw, my first fan. Aww. She doesn't say that, but like he's like her first follower because apparently You is not only an MMO, it is also social media.
Oh.
And so she kind of like wakes up out of the cyber zone. And she just kind of like looks at her stats and she's got like the one follower and the one comment from Little Bat Ghost Friend. She's like, okay, well, this is just like real life. It's whatever. Mm-hmm. But then she sees like a message pops up from Hero. And she's like, you're awesome. Watch this.
Oh.
And then so time kind of passes a little bit. Suzu seems to be a lot more chipper, like a lot more just like she's smiling. She just kind of like goes throughout her day and seems to have more energy. She's kind of been revitalized by this. This is like the first 15 minutes, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's moving fast. But then she like looks down at her phone and she very suddenly has over 2 billion followers.
Uh-oh, social media friend did work.
Social media, baby. And so we get like a montage set to a remix of the previous song that also slaps. And this version is called Swarms of Songs, if you want to look it up. So like she continues performing. We don't really know how much time passes here, but like she keeps performing. Her name keeps getting out there. She comes up with more songs. She's doing virtual concerts, all this stuff. She's like basically rises to the #1 pop star spot on You in like the first 20 minutes of this
She
film.
became iDOL.
She became iDOL, yes. So she does have her detractors. A lot of people are like, she's not anything special. Her songs are weird and her voice is weird and her outfits are weird. But the song's really good, actually. It's like the general message. Because like you get like little pop-ups of like what people are saying on the internet. And Suzu, of course, having no confidence, sees the people flaming her online and she freaks out and she runs over to Hiro's house and she's like, Hiro, everyone's being mean to me on the internet.
That's what you don't read the comments, guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much that's what Haru says. Haru's just like, or Hiro. I wrote Haru. I don't know why. Her name is Hiro. She's like, they're just jealous. Ignore them. If you had OnlyFans,
You had OnlyFans.
you'd have an OnlyFans. Yeah, it's like if you only had fans, you wouldn't actually be popular. Also, here we see Hiro's avatar here, and she looks like a little blue Digimon. I love her design so much. I'm gonna see if I can't find a picture because I didn't send it to you.
I would love to see this body analytics scan of what Hiro would look like in this world.
It's definitely Digimon-esque. So yeah, she's like got like little blue hair anime creature with like little blue like hands and like this big old hat.
Cute.
It's very, very cute. And she just kind of like floats around. I love this design a lot, actually.
Cute.
But yeah. So Hiro comments another like reason why Belle is so popular is because she exists in You. And so it's like, if you weren't a singer in You, you'd just be crying all the time like you do IRL. And I'm like, damn,
Oof.
Hiro, jeez.
Way to pour salt on that wound.
Yeah, way to pour some salt on that wound. Because like, it's kind of being like, I kind of wish they had played with this more, like showing it. Well, I guess they do in the next few scenes. So Suzu kind of sort of joins like a local choir, which is like 5 older women ranging from like their 30s to maybe like their 60s. I don't think we ever learned their names. I just called them the Mom Squad.
Okay, moms.
And so this scene is just to intro the Mom Squad. So it's Mom Squad plus Suzu and like this local choir, but Suzu doesn't really sing. She's just kind of there.
Oh, I see.
And it's implied that these older women like were friends of her mother.
Oh no, that's sad.
Yeah. And so they're like talking to Suzu about her mom, and it's like, well, don't you want to sing so that you can be happy? And Suzu's like, I don't even know what happiness is. I'm emo. Emo. All right. So later, we talk to Shinobu a little bit, which is kind of like the childhood crush. So Shinobu's deal that we kind of learned through. I'm just going to tell you guys all this up front because I hate it and it's dumb and it doesn't matter. So when Suzu's mom died, Suzu was like, she was just fucking sad all the time. And so all of her classmates at school kind of ignored her. And so Shinobu, who went to the same elementary school, assumed that she was being bullied and just kind of went up and was like, hey, I can protect you if you're being bullied. And she thought that was a marriage proposal
Okay.
when she was like a little kid. And so now they've just kind of grown up and they still kind of talk, but Suzu has a crush on him, but he's just so fucking stoic. The man has no emotions, like, at all. And basically his whole thing is like, it's dumb. It didn't need to be in the film. Didn't need to be in the film. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna say everything that happens right now.
Yeah, do
I'm
it.
gonna get this whole love square plot line out of the way because it's so fucking stupid.
Tell us the love square and then we'll push it to the side.
Yeah, we'll push it to the side and then it will never come up again. Except for like at the climax when just all the characters involved are just there for like 30 seconds. So basically, Suzu, main character, has a crush on Shinobu, who is the childhood friend.
Yes.
Ruka, or Luca, depending on the localization that you are watching, is the popular girl.
Saxophone.
The saxophone girl, yes. Suzu thinks that Luca has a crush on Shinobu, but she actually has a crush on Kawashin, who is Canoe Boy.
Oh.
And then at the end of the movie, instead of Shinobu and Shinobu admitting his feelings for Suzu, he just says, "I don't have to protect you anymore. Now we can just be normal friends."
The end.
The end.
What about Saxophone and Canoe?
They have a blushy confession scene that lasts way too long.
It's okay. I like them as a couple better at this point.
I mean, listen, they are cute. This love square did not need to be in the film.
No.
These two characters, Luke is adorable, Kawashin is fun. They did not need to be in the film.
Yeah, I guess just from, again, I haven't actually watched the movie. I'm just hearing about the plot for the first time here, is it really does feel like this was very much a movie targeted towards teenagers.
Oh, absolutely. Which is probably why it's so popular on TikTok right now, because TikTok is just swarming with teens.
All those teens are there, but it definitely is. There seems to be a lot of things where, as an adult, you're like, well, I don't care about that.
Yeah, well, accurate. Because I am an adult and I didn't care. And I'm annoyed that so much of the movie's plot was taken up with this bullshit. Because, it adds nothing. It adds nothing but screen time to the movie, and it didn't need to be there. And it's so pointless, and I'm mad about it. Anyway. So, that's the whole thing.
Yes. That's the square.
That's the love square. That just kind of happens throughout the movie. I will not comment on it again until the very end, when it actually becomes a little bit relevant for 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we cut back to the world of you.
Oh.
And Belle is so popular, she's doing this big concert in this spherical theater.
She's like Hatsune Miku.
She's like Hatsune Belle, yes.
Oh.
But she's pink. It's funny because she looks like the Vocaloid Luca, but there is another character named Luca in this film.
Too confusing.
Too confusing. So she's doing this big concert in a spherical theater. And so she does kind of a musical number, but it's not singing. It's just her kind of floating around with more internet whales and some jazzy tunes playing. It's very pretty. But yeah, it's just kind of a visual spectacle for a couple minutes.
Speaking of visual spectacle, one thing I noticed, at least from the trailers, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it that the real world is 2D animated and the internet world is 3D animated?
Yes, and I forgot to mention this until just now, so thank you for reminding me, because yes, everything that happens in the real world is 2D, your usual animation style. Everything that happens on the internet is all in 3D, but it's rendered pretty well to where if you're just looking at a screen cap, it looks like 2D.
Yes, it probably helps that it's a movie, so they had budget and time to make it look good.
Yes, absolutely. This is very good 3D to the point where I kept forgetting that it was 3D.
That's really cool. And I think that's a very clever use of having different mediums. It gives a purpose to being 3D or 2D besides just utility.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of it, with anime, 3D, a lot of times it kind of falls into the eyes look dead, or just the expressions aren't really pushed very well. That is not a problem that this movie has. Especially when she's singing, the expressions are so clear, and it's a very expressive style, and I honestly really love it.
Cool.
Yeah. I would recommend, if you don't want to watch the full movie, at least go watch some of the musical numbers on YouTube, because they're chef's kiss. Very good.
Very nice.
Very, very nice. Anyway, so she's floating around, she's doing this concert, but then in the middle of the concert, this scene is so stupid. In the middle of the concert, the dome opens just a little bit, one little slot of the dome opens, and then suddenly there's a bunch of people crashing the concert.
The internet concert.
The internet concert, yeah. And so this is, you get your first view of the heavy air quotes love interest.
Oh.
Don't lean into that too far.
Okay.
But I'm gonna call him the love interest, but don't get too attached to that as a ship. In Japanese, he is called Ryu, which is the dragon. But in the English subtitles, they call him the Beast because it's a Beauty and the Beast thing.
Right.
He does not look like a dragon at all. He looks like Beauty and the Beast's beast if he was longer. Just you took him and you stuck him in a taffy stretcher. Like he's got like this long muzzle. His like fur is like black. I'm pretty sure he's got like the digitigrade feet, however you say that. And he's got like this big cloak just kind of over him. And like the back of the cloak has like these weird like kind of speckly designs. And he is being chased through the internet by a group of people called the Justices, who are basically internet cops. And they fucking suck.
Oh no.
In all senses of the word. They are all just getting their asses kicked. They are just like stormtroopers. They are just getting mowed down by this beast guy. And so, like, Belle and everyone else in the audience are just watching this happen. Like, the concert just kind of comes to a stop while this thing is just happening. Just in the arena, this fight scene has just suddenly broken out. And I'm like, okay, why is this happening? People, like, kind of comment and give us some exposition that this beast guy's like, oh yeah, he fights in the arena, but he plays dirty, but he doesn't hack. He's just really strong, apparently. So I guess people think he's hacking, but the word hacking is never brought up.
Right.
His back is covered in bruises. But two things. One, it's on his back, but it's on the back of his coat, not like on his actual back. And number two, they don't look anything like bruises.
Uh-oh.
They look like weird, like little drippy, colorful designs. They're just kind of splotchy. I would not have called them bruises. But just everyone's like, oh my god, his back is covered in bruises, aka the back of his coat has a weird pattern on it.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, sure. So basically he kicks ass for like way too long. And the entire concert hall just kind of watches him and like yelling that he's ruining the concert.
Someone should have just banned him.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking the first time I was watching this movie. I'm like, just ban this guy. Just ban him. Just block him by IP. He's like, he's BMing in the chat.
Yeah.
His bad manners. But yeah, so Belle like sees this and she hears what everyone else is commenting on this guy, and she's just suddenly very weirdly fascinated by him for like no real reason. She just, it's just the magical first sight connection. Ooh, ah.
Maybe she just likes dogs.
Maybe she's a furry. Yeah, probably.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe she wants his avatar, wants to trade. Who knows? Can you do that? Can you trade?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's a shame.
Anyway, so this is the point where we meet the closest thing this movie has to a villain. He is definitely a villain, but he is portrayed as a hero because he is the internet cop supreme.
Oh.
His name is Justin. He is the leader of the Justices.
Ew.
And he looks like if All Might from My Hero Academia was a bastard.
Ew. We hate him.
We all hate Justin. He fucking sucks. I sent you a picture of him. He's the blonde one with the fucking beard.
He's the internet white knight. Everyone hates him.
No, he fucking sucks. All internet cops are bad.
All cops are bad, including internet mods.
Especially Justin.
Especially fucking Justin.
No, this guy fucking sucks. He would suck even if he wasn't an internet cop. He's just had this major sense of superiority. He's got sponsors. Like when he goes off on his like monologue about how he's like, you must be stopped because you're ruining you. It's like pew 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 pew, and then all like these little sponsor logos pops up behind him, and then Hero's like, wow, look at all his sponsors. He's a real big deal, and it's like
the only heroes with sponsorships I would stand behind are Tiger and Bunny. So
Tiger and Bunny, but also Leon from Pokemon.
Fair. Right.
Neither of them are internet cops, so they're automatically better. But yeah, so this was one of those things. This next bit is one of those things where I lost my mind watching this movie for the first time because Justin apparently has a power. He has like a special hand cannon that was gifted to him by, I forgot what they're called, but like at the very beginning of the movie, it talks about how it's like, you was created by like these 5 people. And they're never brought up again except when Justin talks about how his powers were... It's like the sages, but it's not sages. I can't remember what it is.
Justin reminds me of all the reasons why I hate Ready Player One.
No, he fucking sucks. And so, like, he goes on, it's like, this power was given to me by, I'm just going to call them the sages, I don't remember what they're called. It's like, these powers were given to me by the creators of you because I am the one who has to pass down justice to people like you! Dragon slash beast slash whatever the fuck your name is. And so he has the power to unveil people. And what this does is if you get shot with the hand cannon,
you die in real life.
Well, if you get shot with the hand cannon, your avatar disappears and the actual you is then like replaced.
Oh,
so basically it would be like if you died in Final Fantasy and then suddenly you, Sarah, were in Final Fantasy.
I would look the same.
Sarah, I love you. You do not look like Strawberry Pop-Tart.
I want to be a Lalafell.
Sarah's Lalafell's name is Strawberry Pop-Tart. It's very cute.
Yep.
I have a cat girl. Her name is Mia Hoshinya.
Yeah.
And she's super idle. But anyway, so basically this man has the power to dox people.
Yep.
He has the power to just strip away your internet persona and just show everybody what you look like. And I looked this up because for dumb reasons that have nothing to do with me and everything to do with the fact that sometimes I watch dumb video essays about internet drama on the internet, I've learned a bit about how internet companies are allowed to handle their users' information.
Oh.
And basically, when you create an account online, you are establishing a bond of trust with an online service provider. And forcing people to, like, basically outing people's personal information and their personal lives and, like, their data that they are trusting the internet service with is super fucking illegal, and this dude should be in jail.
Yep.
Because basically it's just giving out these people's information against their will. And that's illegal in Japan because I looked it up. And if people saw that tweet, that is why I was looking it up. Is that this is a fucking crime.
Illegal.
This internet cop is committing real world crimes, and I cannot get over that this is a major plot point.
I mean, to be fair, there are definitely, like, the weird white knights on the internet who do dox people because they think they're doing the right thing, and it is still illegal.
No, but there's a difference between a random user doxing people and, like, mod of the internet who, like, has this ability to just give out people's information doing that. He should have so many lawsuits coming after him. You get an email that just says, have you or a loved one been doxed by Justin of the Justices? You may be entitled to compensation.
I'm sure that Mark Zuckerberg has given out my information to people I don't want him to, so ayo.
Oh, sure, but like there's, there's a whole conversation we could have about that I don't know quite enough about to have. This episode sponsored by so-and-so VPN.
Hey, I wish.
Any VPN services want to sponsor us for this episode? We'll write you in afterwards. Anyway, so he has this hand cannon that can dox people. It's the dox cannon. He just kind of fires it willy-nilly. And you have to remember that it doesn't hit the beast, but it does probably hit several people in the audience. Because they're in a spherical theater, and you just see like these little green dox beams just go out into the world. But it's a spherical theater. That had to have hit someone.
They really should have programmed that cannon differently.
Right? Anyway. So he misses, he fires and then he misses, and then he fires and then he misses. And then Beast takes him out. Beast coming in with the steel pipe, just like grabbing a piece of the set and just whacking him with it. And then he just fucking leaves. Bye, I guess.
Someone should have given that mod infinite health.
Yeah, you really should have in your fucking internet MMO. But anyway, so he just fucking leaves. So the concert ends up canceled because it got crashed by this dude. Hero, best friend character, is just like pissed that Beast ruined the show. We get some background on what unveiling is, but I already told you how it works. The girls, like, there's kind of like this long scene where like the girls try to like chase rumors around trying to figure out who the Beast is, and all their leads kind of come up empty. There's some commentary on how people post their lives on social media and how it's different from how they actually are. There's like a little bit of commentary on that, but it doesn't go too deep. Back in the internet, Belle goes running around in search for Beast's castle, because apparently the dude has a castle and no one knows where it is.
Do other people have castles?
Unclear.
Okay.
There's these little wormy dudes that are apparently like little AI creatures, and we don't learn anything about them really. They're just kind of there.
It's Schmorby.
No, Sarah, it's literally Schmorby. Anyway, so there's just like these little AI wormy dudes. And they kind of fuck with her for a little bit, like dragging her around to other environments, just like teleporting her to like these random places. And it's very pretty. The background design here is very nice. But eventually that little angel bat friend shows up and he's like, they're just fucking with you. Follow me. You're trying to go to the castle, right? Okay, I'll take you.
Oh, that's very handy that the angel bat shows up again.
Yeah, it is. Little friend, little buddy friend. And so she follows him to the castle. The Beast appears and he's like, how the fuck did you find my house? And she's like, hey, what's your fucking deal? And he's like, shut the fuck up, get out of my house. And she's like, no. And he's just like screaming at her and he's very intimidating, but she just like doesn't leave it alone. But then Beast sees the little angel bat friend. And he's surprisingly like tender and nice to like the little angel bat friend. Ooh. He's like kind of holding him in his hand. And is like, it's okay. Yeah, they're buddies. They're little friends. And so Belle's like, okay, so he can be nice. He's not a total douchebag, but what's the fucking deal? We go back to IRL. The mom squad sees Suzu just kind of acting funky. And they're like, oh my god, I think Suzu's in love with the bad boy.
Uh-oh.
And all I could think of during this scene where they're giving her love advice is he could be some 75-year-old weirdo with a fetish. Don't just instinctively trust edgelords that you meet online.
No.
Please, for the love of God.
Do not.
Don't do this. This movie should come with a disclaimer. Please do not trust randoms that you find on the internet.
Though if Beast turns out to just be a random NPC, I mean, that's pretty common for people just crush on a fake NPC from a video game. That's all I'm saying.
Like, listen, NPC would be one thing, but like, they should have called the little wormy dudes NPCs. I don't know why. Anyway. Yeah. But no, it's definitely implied that he is a real person. There is a real person behind the avatar. It is never a question. And she is just instinctively just fascinated by him. Me and my hubris as a writer, if I was writing this movie, I would have had him crash her concerts like 2 or 3 times. Like, shorten that whole scene and just, like, make it so it happens repeatedly. And so then she's like, hey, what's your fucking deal? Instead of just being like, oh, I have seen him the first time and now I must know his life story. I am fascinated by him. It just didn't feel realistic to me, the way she reacts to this guy.
She just really likes wolves.
She's a furry. It's fine. I'm not judging, but like her avatar is one of the few that is not even like slightly fish-like.
And that's why she's upset. She wants to switch avatars.
She's like, hey, you, give me your profile.
Please give me your login.
Give me your login information. Anyway. So she starts walking home after the mom squad meeting because the mom squad suggests, well, if you want to get your feelings across to this guy, why don't you write him a song? And so she starts walking home. And then drama, love square, things happen.
Ignore.
Whatever. There is like one cute little scene here where like Luca, the popular girl, is like talking to Suzu and they kind of bond a little bit. It's real sweet.
Aw.
But again, it just does not need to be there and it takes up so much screen time. Anyway, back in the virtual world, Belle is like still at the castle because apparently when you log out and log back in, you're just in the exact same place like any other MMO. And so she finds Beast and she tries to talk to him again and he just like finally chases her off by being a total dick. And she just like runs and she leaves. But on her way out, she gets pulled over and stopped by just a group of the justices for no crime other than just being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Heckin' internet mods.
No, the scene is so scummy, and I hate that it's like, it feels like it would happen. It's just like, hey, what are you doing around here? Do you know anything about the Beast Castle? Do you know where it is? And like, it's like 5 feet to the left.
Womp.
And they just haven't found it. And so they're like, oh yeah, well, you better cooperate or else we're gonna fucking dox you for like no reason other than being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And in the middle of this, the Beast just like shows up and he beats them all up.
Oh.
And then they go back to his castle together. And then we get another musical number that Belle sings to him. It's called Lend Me Your Voice. It's very pretty, but the entire time this scene is taking place, I just could not help but thinking he is probably like a 50-year-old weirdo and you don't know anything about this person and you're singing a love song to him. This is the one segment of the movie that is like very, very, very Disney Beauty and the Beast. So like she's like singing and like their outfits transform. This is very much like the romantic ballroom dance musical number from like Tales as Old as Time, except it's different. Their outfits transform. He gets like a well-fitted like princely outfit. She gets like this flowery dress and they dance around and it's very Disney except they can float because it's internet and so they just kind of like go up into space at one point.
Nice.
And so the lyrics are about like you hide in the shadows but I want to see the real you, etc., etc. Song ends, the Beast just like doubles over in pain and we see like more of those marks just like appear on his back.
He has a virus.
It's like, oh, what the fuck is that? So pause for the cause for just a hot second here, because at the end of this scene we are about halfway through the movie.
Okay.
And so far the point of the plot has gone from Suzu's personal journey to discover her voice and regain her passion has suddenly taken a back seat to a really out-of-nowhere romance arc with a stranger on the internet.
Yes.
And then there's, like, the teenage love square just kind of, like, shoved in there as well. So just online, there's more and more rumors going around about who the Beast is. He's threatening you, but like literally all he does is quote unquote fight dirty and like occasionally go places he shouldn't. Like if he's really causing trouble, just like ban him.
Yeah.
That is a thing that like all good internet communities have is the ability to report people to the mods and you can just get them banned for bad behavior. It's a thing. This was driving me crazy the whole movie. It's just like, I feel like, with no disrespect to the director, I feel like he is fascinated by the internet, but maybe doesn't fully understand how it should work.
Yes, or pulled some strings to I don't know, do what he
Yeah,
wanted visually.
Yeah, I feel like maybe he's just kind of ignoring the way, like, moderation on any online community works in favor of interesting story. But that's, like, the whole thing. That's what makes the internet interesting. But you just kind of, like, removed that whole aspect of it. And it just... I have mixed feelings about it, basically.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so people are still trying to figure out who the Beast is, but nobody knows. Also, Belle has been absent during this whole time. She hasn't been performing, even though I think it's only been like a day and a half.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize
really
that's how quick the
hasn't been
timeline
that.
is.
It really hasn't been that
Gotcha.
long. It's like been maybe 48 hours, so people are being extremely dramatic. And then all of a sudden, she's pulled into an interrogation room by the justices again, and they were like, hey, we got the shit beaten out of us yesterday before we could finish interrogating you. Tell us who the Beast is, tell us where his castle is, or we'll dox you.
Okay.
And so Justin basically goes on a rant. Justin, the fuck you internet cop.
Yeah.
He goes like on this bastard rant about how the internet is too free and open and there needs to be internet cops to keep the peace and I just want to have my shit in everybody's business. Justin.
You, Justin.
But then the little schmorbies, the little internet, the little worm friends come out of nowhere and just like fuck with Justin and just give Belle the opportunity to just like GTFO.
Good job, Schmorby.
Go schmorbies. Like they don't have names. They're just little wormy guys.
They're just the Schmorbies.
They're just little schmorbies. But yeah, so like I took it aside in my notes here to just feel like at this point, the Beast's greatest crime is like interrupting a concert, fighting in an arena that apparently just exists, and if the arena is bad, why is he the only one being chased down and called a monster because of it?
We all know those internet mods, though. They get a vendetta against one person for something stupid, and they go hard.
No, that's exactly what this is, though. That is exactly what this is. He is just like the scapegoat for all the problems on the internet is we just have to get rid of this one guy and we don't know what the fuck his deal is. So we get some more of the teenage love triangle situation. And it ends with Shinobu, the best friend / love interest, asking Suzu, hey, you're Belle, right? Even though we have he has no connection to the online world, and so, or not that we've seen anyway, and so at this point, the movie is pointing really, really hard at him being the Beast, right?
Yeah, that's what one would think, yes.
That is absolutely not the case, and if you thought that, fuck you.
Okay.
Honestly, it would have been way more compelling if it was.
Yeah.
But it is not the case. I want to rewrite this movie where he is the Beast, and then we learn more about him, aside from him just being the childhood friend. I'll put that whole rant in the Discord, maybe, if people remind me when this episode comes out. Anyway, so back in You, they figure out where the Beast Castle is.
Oh.
They probably just Googled it.
Yeah.
Where is Wizard Hut? Where is the Beast's castle? And it gets stormed by internet cops.
Ugh.
And there's like rumors still flying around that are really over exaggerating his crimes. Belle logs in and sees that his castle has just been trashed, and Justin's like, burn it down in the internet.
Internet fire.
Internet fire, burn the data. But like, no, they literally set it on fire.
Oh, well, there you go.
The little wormy guys help Belle find like the secret room where Beast is hiding, which is literally just the roof. So I don't know how they weren't able to find him up there.
Oh.
And she's like, hey, you have to get out of here. You have to get out of here. And Beast is just like, if I can endure it, then the pain will go away. And we're just like, what the fuck does that mean?
What does it mean?
What does that mean? What does it mean? No idea. So this is a part where it gets a little weird because we are constantly going back and forth. Like these two things are happening simultaneously, which tells me that you can be logged into You And you can split screen it almost, where like you're existing and you're talking to people IRL, but then you're also like moving your little internet persona at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And they never really explain how that works. Like, I guess they don't really need to, but it's just weird for me. It's like, wait, how is she controlling her little avatar, but also like, can she see right now? It's implied that like, when you plug yourself in, like it takes over all of your senses, but she's still like outside and just like running through the streets. And
Maybe
it's
it's
like
that. Maybe all this is happening because Belle is like, it's like Toy Story, and Belle Andy like has become her own character when she's not online.
that would be way more interesting, but that would also be Perfect Blue.
True.
Which is an entirely other thing. Idle Days podcast, episode 3, Perfect Blue. Go watch it or listen to it. It's well, watch it. It's on the
It's
movies.
on YouTube.
Yeah, our episode for it is on YouTube now.
Yeah, our episode's on YouTube.
Wink, 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 wink. So we have reached the third act, basically. So, oh boy, how do I even start with this? So, Suzu finds out, main character Suzu, finds out that Beast's castle is being attacked and he's in danger and all this other crap. If he's in danger, why doesn't he just log out? Anyway, internet, don't try to rationalize it. It's the internet. The internet can be whatever I want it to be, says director Mamoru Hosoda.
There you go.
So Haru, or Hiro's computer, I kept writing her name as Haru. Her name is Hiro. Hiro, best friend. She has her computer like set up at their old elementary school because that's just where she's been the whole time. And so Suzu runs to the old school to like try and like help her. But then the rest of the members of the Love Square follow Suzu because we just had that whole thing happen.
Gotcha.
And so they're just also there, and they're literally just standing at the back of the room watching this entire scene unfold. And then eventually the mom squad shows up as well. So it is Suzu and Hiro just like trying to like figure out who the fuck the Beast is, while 7 other unrelated people are just standing behind them and watching.
Gotcha.
While they hack the metaverse.
I see.
On like these huge fucking computer screens. It's just so weird. Like, it's very dramatic, but if you think about it too hard, it kind of falls apart because like it's very dramatic, but you just have an audience of like 7 people who are just standing behind them doing nothing.
Yeah, I feel like that seems... They had a similar thing happen in Summer Wars, but also not really. But it was more compelling because they had more of a reason to be there.
Yeah, no, they're just there because they're like, hey, where'd Suzu go? Did anyone see where Suzu went? Oh, she probably went to the old elementary school. Let's follow her. And then they're just fucking there for the rest of the scene. But yeah, so the 2 main girls, they go on this like very, very fast-paced internet sleuthing thing, trying to figure out who the Beast's IRL persona is so that they can figure out who he is and how to help him.
Okay.
And they're going through like millions and millions of tabs, trying to figure it out. They have like 1,000 tabs open, but then somehow Suzu is able to pinpoint what the audio coming from one tab. Of the song that she sang to Beast being hummed by someone.
Oh.
On like a live stream. And she's like, what tab is that audio coming from?
That's a coincidence.
And so yeah, no, right? Sarah, this part is so convoluted and stupid because she finds where it's coming from and it is a live stream of like this little kid. Just like on a live stream for 0 viewers except for like Suzu.
So the internet cops are out to get him because he lied about his age when he signed up.
Yeah, no, this kid's probably like 10 or 11. He's pretty young. And he's just like he's just on Twitch, live streaming him staring into the computer screen and singing and like humming that little song. But as they're like watching this live stream, they watch as the little kid's dad comes in and threatens to beat him.
Okay.
And then the kid's brother runs in and just kind of like protects his brother and then takes the hits for him. So they're
Okay.
basically just watching this live stream of this little
Of, like,
these
abuse.
little kids getting abused.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Suzu makes the connection that the older brother, his name is Kei, he must be the beast. And the younger brother, Tomo, you do not have to remember those names because, like, they're only relevant for, like, the next 15 minutes, is the little angel bat friend.
Okay.
So the beast is the older brother and the little bat friend is the younger brother.
All right.
Also, the little brother it's never outright stated, but it's pretty obvious by the way that, like, he like holds himself. He's blind.
Gotcha.
Like, I'm pretty sure he is. Okay. And then I just wrote in all caps in my notes, why is this being live streamed?
Yeah.
What is happening here?
Yeah.
So Suzu calls into the live stream.
All right.
Because apparently in this dystopian internet future, you can just auto voice connect to people who are live streaming without them actually choosing to accept your call.
Star, I assume you as a streamer would love this sort of
Oh,
capability.
Sarah, this would be my favorite thing. No, that is the worst idea that I have ever heard. Do not implement this, people of the internet.
Dear internet, please no.
Yeah. So she connects to them and she's like, hey, random kids, it's me. I'm Belle. I can help you. And the kids are like, we don't trust you. And then the older brother is like, do you enjoy seeing how miserable we are? If you don't want people to see you being abused, why the fuck are you live streaming it? And he's just like having this conversation with her. He is literally like on a Twitch stream. And he's like, people always say that they've offered to help before. They say that we'll talk to your dad and we'll straighten things out, but it never changes anything. Fuck you. And then he ends the stream.
Okay.
So there's that.
Uh-huh.
So she goes back into you. And Belle basically is like, I can prove that I, Suzu, am Belle. And I'm going to do this by attracting a lot of attention. I'm just going to have a concert right now. Because, like, there's already, like, people swarming her. Like, they see her. It's like, oh, my God, Belle's here. She's just out in the street. And so she's going to do a concert for us right now. And, like, hundreds of people are swarming around her. And then Justin is also there. And he's like, ha, ha, ha. Yes, if she does a concert, she will lure out the beast. And then we can dox him with my hand cannon. But Suzu knows that the only way the kids are going to trust that she is Belle, it's not that she just says, hey, IRL, my name is Suzu, and hey, Beast, I just called you. No. The only way for her to get their attention and have these kids trust her is for her to grab Justin's hand cannon and dox herself.
Okay.
And then sing a concert just as Suzu in you. Like, without her little avatar. And that is what she does.
Okay.
So she, like, sets up for...
I'm glad that she can sing while looking like herself, I guess.
Yeah, that's what you really have to take from this and just ignore the fact that it is extremely convoluted as a part of the plot.
Yeah.
Because, like, this scene is really beautiful and it is really moving. Because, like, she's, like, looking down for the first part of it, but it's, like, starts slow and it, like, builds throughout the song. The song is called A Million Miles Away, and I can't even sing this song without crying. Like, I don't cry watching it, but just, like, the lyrics are just, like, so fucking sad. And I'm just, I try to sing this in the car, and I just tear up every single time. I'm just like, God damn it!
もう一度胸の奥震えてるここにいるよ
And so the audience loves it. There's like hundreds of thousands of people watching. But as she continues, she like starts getting flashbacks to her mom's death and she freezes up. But she like is able to keep singing, and so she kind of starts doing like this da da da, like the little la la las, and then the audience starts singing along, and she has this like little ball of gold light kind of in front of her, and then the audience starts singing along, and then they all have like the little gold lights in front of them, and so like the whole audience lights up gold. It's so fucking pretty. And then Belle / Suzu, she just like starts to break down. She's like, I can't do this, and she's having more trauma flashbacks, but everybody keeps singing along. And then my favorite part of this whole movie, guess who shows up, Sarah?
Schmorby? Oh no, the whale!
Guess who shows up in the middle of this concert, Sarah?
Is it a whale?
It's the internet whale!
Yeah!
He rises up through the audience and just underneath Suzu's feet. And so she just starts riding him and still singing, and she gets her voice back and the music swells and she rides it like she does at the beginning. And she's still singing, but then suddenly her avatar is back.
Uh-huh.
And I kind of hate that she gets the avatar back.
Yeah,
now.
I would agree.
Because, like, it feels like it cheapens the whole thing. It's like she's finally able to sing as herself, and her reward for being able to sing as herself is that she gets her internet disguise back. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I would have been okay if, like, at the very, very end she got it back. Like, she was able to contact the mods and be like, hey, though, I don't want to, I was able to have cooler outfits earlier, and I liked my pink hair. Can you, like, restore my avatar, please? I wish they had, like, she didn't get it back immediately. Mm-hmm. Because I felt like it just kind of, like, cheapened the whole thing. But the song is good. And she's, like, finally confident, and she's, like, singing out loud, super wonderful, it's beautiful, it's just such a fucking moment. Mm-hmm. And then, back in the real world, those little kids saw her performance online, I guess, decide that she was telling the truth about being Belle. They, instead of just calling her, they resume the live stream.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, I don't think these kids know how to use the internet. I don't think these kids are very internet literate. And so they're like, hey, Belle/Suzu, you're still there? And I wrote in my notes, like, why didn't they just call her?
Yeah.
Why didn't they just call her? Anyway, so just the biggest coincidence of all time is that abusive dad in the other room gets a little alert on his phone that, like, hey, everybody on the internet knows that you're an abuser now. Here's footage of you beating your children. And then he gets mad and he goes into the room where the kids are having a live stream, and just before they're about to say their address, the angry dad comes and he's like, how dare you live stream me beating you? I'm gonna break your computer now, kid.
Uh-oh.
And so then everyone's like, oh no, we don't know where these kids live and their dad's gonna abuse them. What do we do? And then this moment is the only reason why the rest of the characters are important.
Okay.
Because with the power of everyone else in the room, they are able to internet deduce where these kids live.
I see. Teamwork.
Because Luca, saxophone friend, has been watching this whole thing in the background, and she's like, wait, I think that during that live stream when we were watching those children being beaten up, I think I heard the sound of the, like, the little evening chime going off. And so they were able to, like, rewind the VOD and, like, confirm. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. It's true. That is the evening chime. And then the Kawashin, the canoe guy, is like, wait a second, look at those two completely random, nondescript, rectangular, boring-looking, normal buildings that you can see through the one window of this room. Those look like the two random, nondescript, totally boring, nothing special about them buildings in the background of this photo that I have from a canoe tournament a few weeks ago.
Well, this all brings to mind, okay, so I don't want to talk about the actual murderer guy too much, but have you heard, like, there was a Netflix documentary about him. It's called Don't Mess with Cats.
Yes! I have seen that. And that is exactly what this
It reminds me of that.
No, yeah, like, if you are sensitive to topics like a dude just videotaping himself murdering animals on the internet, don't go watch that documentary.
Yeah, and the person also later killed a person, so not a good guy at all, but the internet tracked him down.
No, it was so cool. Definitely gave me, like, story inspiration for the eventual lesbian vampire internet rom-com that I'm gonna write.
I see.
Of just, like, it made me super paranoid about what I post pictures of on the internet. The apartment complex I just moved out of, I never posted pictures of the outside of my apartment because my apartment buildings were an interesting color. And I was worried that people would find out where I lived because I watched that documentary and I got paranoid.
Fair enough.
Yep. But no, that is very much what this is. This is very much a 5-minute truncated version of Don't Fuck with Cats.
Yep.
It's just like, we have to find this abusive dad. Quick, what's that building?
Yep.
So they are able to suss out that they live in Tokyo, which is a fucking enormous metropolis. But I guess they are able to narrow it down just enough that they call the police in Tokyo. And they're like, hey, we're calling to report child abuse.
Vaguely.
What do you mean you can't do anything about it? Well, the police are useless. We have to get Suzu to Tokyo now.
Okay. I mean, there's
And
other
so-
ways to do this, but sure.
No, there's not,
Okay.
Sarah. The only way to solve this problem is to get Suzu to Tokyo
The
as
child.
fast as possible. The 16-year-old child to Tokyo by herself. And she lives, like, not in Kyushu, but, like, one of the southern islands of Japan that's, like, a 7 or 8 hour journey to Tokyo, no matter how you do it. Like, minimum. And so, like, the mom squad rushes her to the train station, and she gets on a train, but it's, like, already evening, and you see her go from, like, a train to, like, a night bus, and she's just, like, on the bus, and she's just going, but then it stops to have a moment where she's, like, having this emotional scene with her dad over text, where the dad is, like I said, she and her dad have, like, a weird relationship where they barely even talk, really. But he's apparently totally cool with her rushing off to a city on the opposite side of the country to help some random kids.
To confront an adult man who is hurting his children.
To confront an adult man who is openly abusive to his children, yes.
Yeah.
Dad gives her a pep talk over text, and he's like, you're such a kind and caring person, and you are that way because your mother raised you. For the first few years of your life, at least, your mother was there for you, and you grew into a wonderful woman. And then she just replies, thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So she gets to this part frustrates me so fucking much, because she gets to the city, but she doesn't know the kid's exact address. So she's just running around in the rain, and eventually the kids just fucking appear. How do they know she was coming? They could not have known she was coming because theoretically, the dad, like, broke their computer. They probably had no way to know that she was coming. But sure, let's just say that they knew somehow that she was there. And they just, like, the two kids, like, the little blind younger brother and then the older brother, like they find her on the street. And they just run and they hug, but then the evil asshole dad is following them, and she's, like, kind of pulls them into a hug and, like, kind of shields them from the dad. And he's like, hey, you're fucked up. He's like, stop keeping me from beating up my kids. You're just standing in the way. You're trying to ruin our lives. La-di-da-di-da. And he's, like, literally, like, kind of beating on her. He, like, scratches her face really badly. And she's, like, bleeding. And she, like, turns around and she stares at him meaningfully for several seconds. And the dad just, he just, like, stares at her and like holds his fist up like he's threatening to punch her, and she doesn't move. And he's just, like, screaming at her. He's like, I'm gonna punch you, you bitch. I'm gonna, and then she just stares at him, and he just metaphorically pisses himself and falls over and runs away.
It worked. Yay.
I wish I were exaggerating, Sarah, but literally all she does is fucking stare at this guy. Doesn't say a word. She just fucking stares at him until he just gets scared of her and literally runs away.
Gotcha.
And so the kids are like, oh my God, you're so wonderful. I'm so glad that we met you. You really are, Belle. Thank you for coming to help us. And like the older brother, who is the Beast, is like, you inspired me to stand up for myself and be true to, and she says that he inspired her to be true to herself. And they all hug. And Sarah, I bet you want some follow-up on what happens to those kids, don't you?
Yep, but I'm guessing this is the end.
Fuck that and fuck you for wanting it. We never find out what happens to the kids after this.
Yeah, okay.
We cut away from this scene, and the next thing we see is Suzu coming back to her hometown, and we never get any closure on what happens to these kids.
Okay.
Like, they didn't even bother throwing us a bone of her, like, helping drop them off at Child Protective Services. Fucking nothing.
Right.
We get nothing. Like, for all we know, those kids went right back home to their abusive dad. We have no way to confirm or deny that happened.
Gotcha.
I was so fucking mad. But anyway, so the next thing we see is Suzu coming back to her hometown. She gets off the train, and her dad and all of her squad is meeting her at the station. And as they all walk home together, Shinobu, the love interest, younger or like childhood friend, says, I saw you protect those kids. That was really cool. Except that he literally didn't. He wasn't there.
Yeah, huh? Okay.
He literally wasn't there. He had no way to see that. They weren't live streaming her confrontation in the street with people in the chat going, oh my god, that guy pissed himself, poggers, or whatever.
Imagine, though.
Imagine. And then he says, he's like, cool, well, I guess I can stop being your protector and now we can just be normal friends. That's what I've always wanted, after all. And I'm like, cool, you had one page in the script.
Yeah.
Like, total throughout the whole movie. I have no idea who this boy is. Mm-hmm. We know nothing about this man. This child. Literally nothing.
Yep.
And just, oof. Like I said, needed some more time in the writer's room, methinks.
Yes. So I guess, again, I have not seen the movie, but what it seems like they're trying to get at is showing that, like, the internet can be good escapism for your, like, IRL trauma, but, like, the people you meet on there could help you overcome your IRL trauma. But it doesn't seem like they did that very well. Yeah.
No, I guess. But also not really.
Yeah.
Because, like, the bulk of the plot of this movie took place over the course of, like, 3 days.
Right.
Or at least I have to assume so based on the passage of time, the implied passage of time. It's the whole thing. But anyway, so the very last scene is like they're all walking together, and then one of the mom squad goes like, hey, we should sing while we walk. Hey, Suzu, why don't you lead us in singing that one song? And Suzu's like, okay. And then the sun comes out from behind the clouds, and we cut to credits.
Oh, wait, we don't see her sing? Wait, start now?
That's the end.
No, you don't.
That's how it ends.
The whole point was to wait. Hold on.
No, Sarah. Okay, so I said I would come back to this. So here's me coming back to this. The entire movie was about Suzu finding her voice so that she can finally be herself and sing as herself. Mm-hmm. We literally never hear her sing outside of the internet. Oh, she could suck, and we just wouldn't know.
She's being auto-tuned.
She could have been auto-tuned the entire time. We have no way of knowing. We have only ever heard her sing online.
Oh, no.
She might just suck. I don't want to think that is true, but we have no reason to believe otherwise.
She hasn't sung since she was 6 years old, and that was, again, 10 years ago and before puberty.
And through puberty, yeah. She might just fucking be terrible.
Uh-oh.
We have no way to confirm or deny her actual singing ability without the crutch that is the internet.
Well, it's okay. Hatsune Miku lives on the internet, and she does good singing, so we're all right.
Hatsune Miku is real, and she is my friend.
She is my friend.
This podcast sponsored by Hatsune Miku.
So, Star, overall, what are your thoughts? Would you recommend this movie to anyone?
I would recommend this movie if you just want to turn off your brain and not pay attention to the plot and just look at the pretty pictures and listen to the pretty music.
Well, I feel like I could do that.
If you're capable of doing that, I unfortunately am not. because I am too obsessed with like narrative, and this podcast has made me realize that I am a very critical person, and I never thought that I was until I started this podcast, and I'm like, wow, I'm harsh. I'm harsh sometimes.
There are also different ways for enjoying stories. So, people can enjoy just liking the pretty colors, and some people enjoy more character rather than narrative, or just like, I don't know, furry icons. Which is cool. I mean, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, I usually play games for the story, but I have so completely dissociated from the Genshin Impact story. I just literally run around with my himbo beating people up. I don't care what the fuck is going on with the story anymore, because they use too many weird words.
And you can enjoy Belle the same way. You could just enjoy watching the pretty graphics of a monster man beating people up.
Yeah. Just beating up or internet cops.
Fuck Justin. That's my takeaway on
Fuck
this.
Justin. Yeah, basically. Fuck Justin.
If you're a Justin on the internet, stop.
You know what's really funny, though, is like that some of the justices are like literal, like, Khajiit, like, sexy boobed cat women.
Zootopia.
Zootopia! Zootopia goes to the internet.
Uh-oh.
The furries alive on the internet. They paid like some artist a lot of money to design their internet avatar.
And I would
except
say
that they didn't.
I would say
because
power
it's
to them.
generated.
I would say power to them, except that they're internet cops, so no.
No.
We don't like you.
No. Go dox people somewhere else, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that is the film. I would like I said, it is very pretty. It is very well animated, well acted. The music is phenomenal. Pretty much everything about this movie is great, except for the plot. Mm-hmm. So you can just kind of ignore that part and just look at the pretty bits, and you don't really think about it too hard. Then you too can go on TikTok and talk about how great this movie is.
Hey.
Because your girl was kind of gaslit by TikTok into thinking that this movie was better than it actually was.
Uh-oh.
Because that's literally what happened, right? So I watched this movie the first time, and then I was like, that was a weird film. I will not put any more thought into it. And then like a couple weeks passed, and then I kept seeing videos on TikTok, and I would like look through the comments of like all the teens saying, oh my God, this movie was so good. This movie was so good. And I started thinking like, well, maybe it was good, and I just wasn't in the right headspace to appreciate it. And then I watched it again. I'm like, nah, it's still bad.
Oh no.
Like it's not a bad film. It's just,
It was
I don't want to be mean and say that it doesn't deserve the praise it's been getting. But the story needed some more time to percolate in the writer's room. And I feel like if you had removed half an hour from this movie, it would have been much stronger.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Total tangent, but it is related, I promise. There is a video essay that I like to go back to occasionally. It's called BBC Sherlock Sucks and Here's Why, or something like that. And it talks during one portion of it about how when you're writing a story, sometimes it's better if you like write your story and then say, okay, now cut 30 minutes from it. And usually the end product is better because you're able to get to the meat of the plot a lot faster. You really have to narrow it down, figure out what is the most important part of your story, and just kind of like trim it down until it's the ideal version of itself. And one of the reasons that BBC Sherlock is kind of a failure in that regard is because the pilot episodes were only an hour, but then the final episodes were like an hour and a half, so they kind of fluffed it out. Mm-hmm. And so that's why like some of BBC Sherlock's episodes are just kind of bad, and there's a lot of extra information in there that doesn't really need to be there. And I feel like this movie really would have benefited from that ideology of write your movie and then make it half an hour shorter. And then that's your movie, because that would have removed pretty much the entire weird teen romance arc that didn't need to be there. And it would have left a lot more room for the like important parts of the story, the actual like relevant parts of the narrative to kind of come through and shine more without being bogged down by like all this other bullshit.
Yeah, definitely. And it feels like what a lot of their point of, or it seems like what a lot of, it seems like what they're trying to get at is like the real connections you can make online But you can't really do that if people are just like saying one word at each other and then they're in love, for example. It doesn't really work
and it was
that
just
way.
like, there was the whole romance aspect of it that didn't make sense.
No.
I will die on the hill that this movie would have been so much better if the childhood best friend Shinobu was the Beast. Because, okay, she finds out, so we cut to the end of like the love triangle bit, right? Like right before the final act starts. We find out that Shinobu is the Beast, but then we're like, hey, he's been hiding. If he knows that Suzu is Belle, he's been hiding the fact that he's the Beast from her. But then that would automatically make more sense as to why she's attracted to the Beast in the beginning, because she like kind of instinctively realizes that this is a person she knows. But then she's like, well, we've been friends for so long, but I don't really know that much about him. And then we can dive into his story, and maybe he's being abused, but he's become the protector for Suzu because he feels like if I can't, it's like, I have all this internal pain, but if I can protect her, then that will make me stronger. It would have been so...
It would have been stronger. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense.
I'm gonna get into writing fanfic so I can rewrite this movie to be better. Me and my fucking writer's hubris. I will write fanfiction for the first time in my... It's not the first time. I wrote some like...
Star will hate write fanfiction.
I don't hate it. I'm just... I feel very Love Live about this film.
Understand.
I feel like it was not the best thing ever, but it wasn't terrible. But people on the internet think it's way better than it actually is, and I want to show them how it can be better. This movie needs... We need a Belle Sunshine, right?
Belle Sunshine.
And I will helm the script.
There we go.
Anyway, if you want some more of my writing, go to castoff-comic.com. I just posted a scene that I've been writing for years, and you can see some of Star's writing chops in action. And I don't want to fluff myself up too much in case people don't like my writing, but I like to think I'm at least decent at it.
Well, and if people want to find more about us on the internet, the iDOL Days people, where can they find us?
Good segue. So we are also on the internet. And you can find both me and Sarah's info, as well as more info about the podcast, on our website, idoldays.card.co. That's idoldays.carrd.co, or idoluminati.com with 2 L's. But then we also have social media. So Sarah, where can people go for social media?
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram, and maybe in the future on you at idolDaysPod. That's at IDOLDAYSPOD. You can...
Sarah and I will share an avatar. We are Legion.
We are Legion. It'll look like the Idoluminati eye.
Yeah, we'll be that plus Bill Cipher. We will just be the Idoluminati triangle, and we just float around and tell people about like Idarus.
Exactly. So
and tell people to listen to our podcast.
But until that exists, you can tweet at us there. Send us your hot "Is this an idol anime take?" Tell us your favorite idol tropes. That's something we've been looking for.
Yeah. Tell us what your favorite tropes, like character tropes, story tropes in idol anime are, because we are gathering a list. Don't worry about why.
It's for science.
It's for science. And definitely not for a thing we're doing later. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Anyway. Do we want to hint at what our next few episodes will be?
Boys.
Yeah, but then our 2-year anniversary is coming up soon. Holy shit.
We're so old.
Oh god, we've been doing this podcast for a long time. But yeah, so we'll probably be doing like a Q&A, so be on the lookout for that. Also, join our Discord, because we forgot to show that.
Yeah.
Join our Discord. We're going to put out a call for like questions and shit.
There are links on our social media and our website, which are on the internet.
And also, probably, depending on what platform you use to listen to this podcast, in the description of the podcast episode. Whoa! But I think we can call it there. So, this has been Idol Days. We've been Lady. See you next live. Bye.